Old school from whatthebuck.net here, live at Bucks training camp. I don't want to try and get in the middle of that because it's HBO's down there, and that's what they're here for. But Dirk Cutter is down in front of the area where the stick carriers were at camp today, and addressing the crowd. He just held the portrait that they have of him, which is absolutely one of the coolest things I've ever seen, a la the movie Old School. He held that up. He just addressed that crowd, which is great. But we're going to get into our review. But I'm happy to say the stick carriers made it the whole day. It was phenomenal. You guys saw a bunch of live videos from me talking about it. It was definitely a game-changing thing. They gave him the portrait. Actually, hold on a second here. Let me switch our camera around. You see them out there walking across. It looks like they presented him with the portrait, which is absolutely phenomenal. At any rate, let's talk about what happened on the field today. Great action by the team, both offensively and defensively. The energy was tremendous across the board. The heat was ridiculous, guys. I said yesterday it was hot. Today was probably another 5 to 7 degrees hotter. The crowd was standing room only. They were around the entire field, and the energy was definitely reflected in the play on the field. Now, we're still at THUD level, which means when the backs would get through the line, they were not getting tackled, but there were some areas of contact from time to time. Nothing that was excessive. There was a little chippiness here and there, but you're going to have that. It's the 4th day in a row in pads, so you're going to have that. So, from an overview perspective, the things we normally pay attention to. Not one of Jameis' better days, in my opinion. He turned the ball over at least 3 times that I saw. One of them that raised the ire of Coach Cutter. A little bit of a talking to afterwards, but that's going to happen as he continues to try and figure out how to do this. Now, he also had some great plays, too. It's not about just downside, right? He had some spectacular plays. And, in fact, I tweeted about, I believe, at one point the crowd made the offense have to go essentially call a timeout, which is just crazy. But they came back, and Jameis hit DeSean Jackson on an out, and he would have taken to the house. Coach Cutter mentioned that in the post-game conference, or the post-practice conference as well, because that's one of those plays you wouldn't necessarily look at and think is a big deal, because it wasn't a long 9 or a long post. It was an out, but he could have taken it to the house, and did, in fact, at practice. So, defensively, Gerald McCoy was absolutely dominant. I'm sure you guys can still hear this. I think they got some players down in front of the stick carriers down there. The crowd has not moved a lick. They're signing the autographs. But Gerald McCoy was all over the field. There were 2 plays in a row where he just destroyed plays. Defensively, beyond Gerald McCoy, Beckwith continues to shine. Today was JJ Wilcox's day. JJ Wilcox was all over the field. I know he had at least 1 interception. He got his hands on the balls a number of times, playing very aggressively. It was funny, the ebb and flow of the practice today, because early the offense looked like they were doing very well. They were able to move the ball well. I think that a little bit of fatigue crept in. The defense showed up, ones versus ones. They were able to win some of those battles. I didn't pay attention at all to the kicking today, guys. Sorry, so I don't have counts. I'm sure someone else has done that for you. But in general, guys, there is absolutely a different feel here in Tampa. I said it on the earlier live streams. I've been doing this since my 12th season. It has never been like this in training camp. This energy level is phenomenal. I almost got a picture of Brian Ford, the COO, taking a picture of 2 fans for them. So it is phenomenal. McCoy has been unblockable. It's just been the case that McCoy is able to impose his will. Now, that could scare you because we got a pretty damn good offensive line, but that just speaks to how good he has been. On those 2 plays I talked about, I think they were the first 2. They're chanting for him right now. He apparently went over there and chatted to the crowd. But on those first 2 plays, he was in there so fast, the plays were just completely disrupted, and you want that. Now, when you have one player of that front 4 able to do that, that just opens everything up. Other people that popped today, I would say, yeah, it's funny. The beads have been thrown around. It's been a party atmosphere for sure. On the defensive line, Spence continues to be super fast. Swaggy was out there today. I didn't see him pop. Stevie T popped a couple times getting through the line. The linebackers continue to flow the ball really aggressively, which is nice to see. In general, I think as Bucs fans, we got to be pretty excited headed towards that first preseason game to see what this team can do. There'll be no practice tomorrow. We'll be back out here, I believe, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday. I doubt that they'll be in pads on Monday. They want to give these guys a chance to recoup. But we still have not had a full goal line session, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that will be like. We also haven't had full contact yet. Winston looked, like I said, moments of brilliance, moments of despair. He had the interceptions, but at the same time, he made some spectacular plays. So it's what we have expected from Winston. Yesterday's practice, when I talked about the read decisions, I thought yesterday's decisions were better. The linebacker, I was talking to the commish, and to be honest, I think we're 4 deep at linebacker, and we're 4 deep legitimately at linebacker with Devontae Bond and Beckwith behind Levante David and Quan Alexander. One other note, the goal line session where they ran in 7-on-7s, 2 different sessions that I saw of that today. In one, offense just dominated, absolutely dominated. In the second one, the defense was whipping their ass. And you like to see that back and forth. To the question about the stick carriers, man, I don't know. It was phenomenal. I got here, Trevor, Tampa Bay Trey from Pewter Report said, you know, he and I are the first two typically here from the media section. He got here about 5 minutes before I did. You could hear them parking in the media section. They were already chanting, and he had heard from someone that they had been out there since 6:20 in the morning chanting and cheering. And you can hear them at all points. In the stands, which you guys have seen now, and I'll scan them again for you in case you don't remember. So this is a far end zone, goes all the way down there. Now you'll see in this particular instance there are people down by the side. They don't normally let people down there. There were so many people here today that they had to do that. They had to let people in and clear the area. The fire marshals had a job, but to the credit of the organization and the credit of the stick carriers organization, the crowd was well contained, well controlled. And I don't mean that in a pejorative way in any way, shape, or form. It's a massive amount of people. I would say probably 1/4 of the stands, of the entire stands, were stick carriers. And when the fire marshal brought something up, they controlled everything. They kept the aisleway clear. It could not have been better in any way, short of this being a game that we won and got a win for. So we'll be back again here on Monday. We'll be back on the podcast this week. But as Bucs fans, pay attention. All these guys are putting out a lot of great content. I know there'll be great interviews. So we'll see you back. The portrait it looked like the portrait was given to Dirk. And again, I wish I had a good picture of it. I think I've got one on my camera. I'll try and put it out. It is a portrait like in the movie Old School. It's funny as hell. And Dirk went over and he held it over his head. And then they walked away. And I think the actual portrait. The stick carrier group is, if there was any apprehension, and I certainly had some, right? I had some cautious optimism, but I had some apprehension, a lot of respect for a lot of the folks in there. But what they have created is pretty spectacular, and now the magic will be to try and keep it going. And the team will do that by playing well in the field, and they'll do it by creating what a number of them said to me is like the stick carrier moniker is good to rally, but at the end of the day, they just want to be Bucs fans. They want all Bucs fans to be involved in that movement, and so this just is the tinderbox that gets things going. So at any rate, we will be back. You asked if it was film crew noticeable. Yes, HBO Films is all over it. It will be all over HBO for sure. Huff has been Huff. Huff is exactly what Huff is. Huff is super fast and drops the ball from time to time. And he had a bad drop right in front of us in the end zone, which was kind of crappy. So Godwin, Coach Cutter said, looked like he's getting a little bit tired. They had a couple guys that couldn't finish practice, so there were extra reps for some guys. Bobo Wilson, I think the real battle is going to be the Bobo Wilson spot on the last piece. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys back on the podcast, and go Bucs.